So I'm going to talk to you today about being competent and confident. And what does it mean to be competent? That means that you're not easily be replaced. You know your job well, and nobody can tell you otherwise. And along with that, because you know your job well, you're confident. So let's say if you go to a pastor and he doesn't even know what the Bible says, he can't even quote the Bible, that would be like, okay, well then he's not really competent. He's not competent because he doesn't know the word, and therefore he's not confident. You don't need to memorize the entire Bible, but you need to be able to discern if something is taken out of context or something is something that someone has said. There's a scene in this movie called the Sicario, the Day of the Soldados. And so, I mean, you have to say, okay, well, what does it mean? What does it mean to be competent? And in this movie, the Day of the Soldados, Sicarios, this guy is working for the government agency, and the government's like, well, just kill him. And the boss is like, we can't just kill him. He's like almost impossible to replace. And she's like, yeah, we can find. And the government lady she's overseeing has no idea what she's doing. She's like, oh yeah, we could just replace him. There's a bunch of sicarios, which is assassins, that we can find to replace him. And the boss is like, not like him. You know, would somebody say that about you? Would somebody say that? Would your family, would your wife say, oh, he can be replaced easily? If your wife wanted to replace you, could she replace you easily? Like, I know damn well my wife is not going to find somebody like me ever. Like, never. She'll never find somebody like me. I'm 100% confident. I know it, and she knows it, and she knows that I know it. You know, it's going to be a lot harder for her to replace me than it is for me to replace her. Not to devalue her. Of course, she's definitely important in my life, but you have to operate that level of excellence, a level of competency in your life. Now, what does it mean to be a competent and confident man? That means you do what you say, and you follow through. Okay, a lot of people will talk, but they don't follow through. They don't follow through unto completion a task or an objective. They'll say, oh, well, we're gonna start exercising this week, and then there's no plan. There's no system put in place, as opposed to say, we're gonna exercise 5 times a day in the morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., and we're gonna do that 5 times a week. And we're gonna do that on a weekly basis. You know, that's a form of leadership. That's a form of leadership. It's not the best form. I'll tell you the best form is. The best form is you say, I'm going to exercise 5 times a week, and I'm going to do it from 7, 8 a.m., and I'm going to do it 5 times per week, and I'm going to do it every single day, Monday through Friday. And would you like to come? If not, I'm going to do it anyway. Again, that is you taking initiative on yourself. And if your wife's not doing anything, and your wife loves you, right, and she's not doing anything, I mean that she's not doing anything, that means she's not taking care of the kids, she doesn't have a job, okay? If she's not doing anything, she's probably going to come along. She's probably going to follow your lead. So that's what that is. You know, I mean, why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she? If you're going on a path of self-improvement. So, you know, it's your choice, you know, it's how you choose. But if you do that on a consistent basis, not on a weekly or just a couple months or a New Year's Eve resolution crap, but you live that lifestyle, she's going to follow you. Why wouldn't she want to follow you? If she, if you know, if she knows that you're improving yourself, if she knows that you're completing your goals, your objectives, and these are objectives I mean, we do it as a family. We do a weekly goals, and then we have a weekly meeting that we do. We kind of just review, like, how can we be better communicators, because marriage is a lot about meetings and communication and how you can do better, and certain things that you have in place. Like, I'll tell you, one of the things that we have in place is we recognize if we're getting angry, and if the conversation starts to escalate, and it will when you're married, because you're living together, not only like your husband and wife, but you're living together. If the conversation escalates and the voice tone elevates and she starts shouting and she starts talking like this, then you say, you know what, let's just talk a little bit later when you feel more calm, when you can talk to me in a more calm manner, because right now is not the right time. Happens all the time. I'll need to do it sometimes 3, 4, 5 times a day. I say, okay, let's talk a little bit later, and that's okay. That's all right. You're gonna get angry. You're gonna have disagreements when you're married. The thing is, you have to communicate. You have to have an open line of communication. You can't have that line, that pipe of communication. It's almost like a water pipe. That pipe has got to be clear. You got to be able to exchange that information freely. So and you can't have blockage. And what's blockage in that pipe? That pipe of communication that you and your spouse have. That blockage is resentment. That blockage is, hey, there's a subject that you want to bring up that I don't want to talk about because it's going to create an argument. No, you need to talk about it. You need to feel free to. She needs to feel free to disagree, and I need to feel free to disagree. And what I usually do is, I say, look, I bring up the problem, and I'm asking her that this is a problem because I want her to come up with a solution to this problem. You know, so let's say it's an issue with she's eating junk food. There's a lot of junk food in the house. I'm just using that as an example. This is not an actual thing, but you know, it can become a thing, because I like to shop, and sometimes I'll do spontaneous buys. I usually do it. She doesn't really. She does, but she may go and she may be buying junk food. I say, look, I don't want to have junk food in the house because I don't want to get tempted, because I'm trying to lose weight. You know, we're both are trying to be lean. It's hard to stay lean, especially if you have a certain body type. And I'll say, so how do we solve this problem? Give me a solution. And she may say, oh, we'll stop buying junk food, or we'll stop doing spontaneous buys. You know. So that's an example. But a lot of guys, like, they don't want to talk to their wives because they don't want to bring up an argument. Like, what kind of weak man, you're afraid to talk to your wife? You know, again, this goes back to competency and confidence. There's a lack of self-confidence because you're not competent in your communication skills. You have to be competent in your communication skills, and you develop that, how you communicate with yourself, how you talk with yourself. Do you complete the things that you say you're going to do? Do you follow through unto completion in a goal and objective? So these are all things that you can do for yourself as you lead yourself, and just doing it on a consistent basis, and just building that castle. I call it building that castle of excellence. Of duty, commitment to yourself. And nothing worthwhile is going to require nothing worthwhile is going to be easy. It's always going to require work. Just like a communication with your wife, if you have communication with anybody, you want to make sure that you have that open line of communication, and you have competency, and you have credibility. That credibility comes from being consistent with your goals. Again, it falls back again to what I said before, competency. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope this helps you. Feel free to like and share and leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. God bless you.